One, and we should be live. Hi, everyone. I am here with Michael, and today we're going to talk points for value, and we're going to talk about force organization chart, and we're going to talk about our thoughts about different parts of the early meta of V3. Right. And we're going to use the force organization chart. We both have our rulebooks next to us, so we're going to use the force organization chart basically as a blueprint for what we're going to talk about. So I think we should start by talking about the company commanders.
Yes.
So what have we seen so far? What have we learned?
Well, I honestly think the company commander is by far the most OP thing ever made in bolt action.
Okay.
It's from my experience now, especially when I went to Jan's tournament in Odense called Bring Your Guns,
Mm,
where when you start getting in that clash where you know that first dice normally is important.
yeah.
Now the first dice is devastating
Yeah.
because if you have not spent your 42 points on the company commander, you build a stupid list. The
Okay.
fact that you can snap to 4 units will win you the game in 90%, unless you just roll really, really crappy. Because the fact that you can do something with 4 units with a radius of 12, a
Mm,
diameter of 24 inches, which means if you have moved him up behind the forest or something in the middle of the table, any unit within 12, whether you can see him or not, on
mm,
both sides of him, can be activated. And when you're in that clinch, as you know you're going to be, where, ooh, which unit am I going to pick? Which one is the most devastating right now? Well, you don't have to pick. You just snap all of them and
yeah.
go boom, boom, boom. And the game is literally over.
Mm,
The fact that pins doesn't matter because even if you have a veteran unit with 3 pins, still only a foo bar is going to stop you from doing anything because of a company commander. It
mm,
is way too much with +4 in morale.
mm.
Uh,
So, see, for me, I'm really not that bothered yet by the Snap twos. And you've had a few more games than me in tournaments in V3, but I have yet to feel like a Snap two won a game. Although I am snapping a lot more than I used to,
mm,
a lot more. But for me, I think that the main thing with the company commander is the +4. Um, it's weird because one of the things that we were promised with V3 was that pins would be everywhere and everyone, and you can really easily get access to pins, but they don't mean anything anymore for
no,
me.
they
In
don't.
most games, they don't
Yeah,
matter.
no, they don't.
So I'm referring here mostly to my recent game against Achilles, where he had brought his Finnish armored list. And Finnish armor sounds like crap, right? It's all unreliable, double pins. It didn't matter at all. None of the pins mattered. He
No.
absolutely had that company commander just sitting there, and everything did what it was supposed to do
Yeah,
because the pins do not matter. And I had 4 to 6 pins on his units,
yeah,
did not matter.
no.
So yeah, that in that respect, I can easily follow you. I've yet to see that the four
I
units
I
is a
I
problem,
I
but
don't mind the snap two with +4 as if you brought the company commander and the officers down to a morale boost of 2 and 1,
mm,
because then you can snap two, but if you have the pins, you will fail. Right now, you only fail on a foo bar,
yeah,
which I think is ridiculous. I mean, I used mine this weekend with all my inexperienced mortars.
mm,
And I think it was Michael Eistrup who said, "Well, they're never going to run away
yeah,
because you need to roll a 12 for them to run away." I hit him, I kill one. You have 2 rolls as Russian to save him. Doesn't matter.
never
They're
gonna
not
happen.
going to
Yeah,
run.
yeah,
They're so hard to kill. This is an inexperienced 2-man squad that
yeah.
is basically impossible to kill because they get +4 to morale. That cannot be the idea that one guy is that powerful.
No,
I think
It,
he's
it
too
it does
OP.
seem to be way too powerful, at least on the effect on pins. But we shall see if someone comes up with an idea of how to mitigate that. Could be that there's something in multi-launchers, because you're going to have to stick relatively close together. But
Well, not really. I mean, you have your officer, and then 6 and 6 and 6 and 6 on both sides. You've got a 24 spam, and him in the middle. He can
yeah,
still reach all of them.
yeah,
I mean, he is OP. He's way OP. He should not be that way. And I think as I talked about people at Big with this, and most of them agreed with me.
yeah.
I think all did actually. That what we were saying was 2-1 in morale boost, and you should not be able to affect anybody unless you were at least of the same veterancy. So
Okay.
if you had an inexperienced regular and veterans were going to look at you like, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
We're not
You know, I
listening to
mean,
you.
if an inexperienced officer came back in the day and tried to order the SAS around, they would just give him the finger and say, "Piss off, rookie. We don't give a shit about you." They wouldn't care. So, I mean, or if maybe you should make an auto test with no modifiers to snap to something, so you at least had to pay the points to get a veteran officer rather than just pay the 42 for an inexperienced.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to snap to and you have to do your auto test with the pens you have,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden your snap to won't be so effective,
Yeah.
and you shouldn't be
Because
able to give yourself a bonus ever.
so right now, in pure version 3, we more or less think that a commander is an auto include. Is that it?
Oh, I would never not take him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right now. I'm trying to build a. I have a thing with Casper here on the 14th, and I'm trying to build my inexperienced horde.
Yeah.
So and I'm gonna make them shirkers because I don't care about the extra pin because I have a company
You've got a
commander.
company commander. Yeah.
So basically, I'm getting 7 men with rifles for 35 points.
Yeah.
So and when they get too many pins, I'm just gonna rally them because the company will account. So I'll only fail on a foo bar. What? Why?
That brings us really easily to the question of the platoon commander. So the +2 officer.
Well, the +2 officer is, I mean, as I think it was Eistrup who said, you use your commanders very well. I didn't get anything out of mine because I had my company commander in the middle, and then I
Yeah.
had my platoon commander running up so he could support the scout teams at a distance of 6, preferably behind the forest or whatever. So when I had a lot of pins, he was there to support them so they didn't fail. He +2 is plenty for a
Yeah.
veteran. It's probably not enough for in the long run for inexperienced, but if you buy veterans, he's plenty.
My experience is that at least for World Open War, it was plenty to have my inexperienced officers because I had so many of them. Because I had 3 platoons and a fourth that was an armored platoon.
Uh-huh.
It meant that I had so many officers that could go everywhere and just be little morale bubbles.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. That's what
yeah,
I use them for.
yeah,
So, and then the big guy for my inexperienced in the back to snap to.
yeah,
So when you used a round to shoot at something that moved like a tank you want to pin, then the first dice you get, you snap to 4 mortars, even though they might not be able to penetrate as long as they can give pins.
yeah,
A tank with 2 pins that doesn't have an officer near is actually a pretty good target. There's a good chance he's going to back,
yeah,
or if he moves, it might not be enough that he moves 6, depending on how big they are, and he isn't gonna get out of footprint. So you shoot him again. Eventually, it's you taking the tank out with a
yeah,
21 point unit
yeah,
by snapping 2. And if you can get 2 hits, 2 5s on those rolls, and get a little lucky, he's screwed with
yeah.
2 to 4 pins. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty much my experience with the platoon commanders as well.
yeah.
What about the rifle platoon itself, our main platoon, right? So in a rifle platoon, you can take a platoon commander. You have to take 2 infantry squads. You can take 2 further infantry squads. You can take a medic, forward artillery observer or air observer, sniper team, anti-tank team, 2 light mortars, and transport vehicles. For you, is the rifle platoon actually good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Depending on who you're playing, but yes.
Yeah.
Like the new British rule with two taps with your artillery observer for 75 points is ridiculous. I mean, there is no doubt that the people who wrote this game are from Great Britain because they want to make sure they have a huge edge, and they do. It is absolutely ridiculous that you get 2 shots for 75 points. I mean, it's just as bad as 1 point for free, 1 shot for free, but two, absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is the dumbest thing that they get to. It is ridiculous. And if you, as a British player, do not take a forward artillery observer for each rifle platoon you have, you shouldn't be allowed to build a list. It is dumb. And
It's
you
sort of the
guys who
way
made this, you should
I
be
see
ashamed of
now.
yourself.
Yep, sorry.
Seriously.
I sort of feel the same about the American Air Observer, also because he has the double tap now. And I am scheduled to do a video with Alistair Unicom about Air Observers pretty soon. So
Yeah,
I
well,
feel like those double tappers. One thing that I'm a little concerned about is that the artillery observer, what I used to use him for was to give out pins and then move up my army so that I was where I needed to be for that decisive turn where I either assaulted him or shot him off or moved out of his, moved into his zone or whatever.
yeah.
Um, that really doesn't work anymore. Go back and watch what we just said about the
No,
command officers, right?
no, it doesn't.
So
But you don't use him for that. You basically use him to kill or to move people away from
yeah,
the middle on objectives.
yeah,
So, but because with the way you're building your armies now, if people are following V3 rules, even if you do what most have done so far and make a dice cap of 24, which is what's going to be in Aalborg. It was at the VOV.
yeah.
Your little winter tournament is going to have no dice cap,
No dice
which
cap. Yeah, but
which
that's because
means
I want to test
yeah,
out what pure
which
V3 is.
which
Yeah,
means if you field 50 units, which Benny will, for
yeah,
example, um, that will mean that your artillery observers will kill a buttload.
yeah,
Now, if you then get somebody in there, like a scout team, for example, from the Russians, and take out the company commander, I mean, that's who I go for. If I don't care about the pick units or anything, I'll take the hits. If I
yeah,
can kill him, I have you under control. That
yeah,
is how powerful I think he is.
yeah.
I will go for him with my scouts. When I can run forward, stay in cover, and shoot at you, I will do what I can to kill your
Even
company commander.
sacrificing the scouts to get
Oh, I'm
that.
not sacrificing them. I still get a cover save and so on. I mean, the infiltration is overpowered too. The biggest problem for that is you don't have a uh, a commander with you of any kind, so
Yeah,
you
you're
have
pretty
to
much alone when
you on your own
you
merit.
infiltrate far up
Yeah,
the table, and you can infiltrate quite far.
yeah.
You've been working out whether or not your all infiltration forward
I
deployment army can
tested
work.
it in book, and what I figured out was infiltration is king, but it's only
Yeah,
king if you put down the objectives. If the objectives is put down first, you fucked.
yeah,
If you can infiltrate, you're fucked because you have no distance
yeah,
at all.
yeah,
So there is a few things that like I won three, I lost three with it. And the missions where I could put down the objectives, yeah, no dice. If I can get up to you close and I have cover,
yeah,
but I do need cover. I need hard cover, preferably. Then I don't care if you shoot at me with a howitzer that kills everything because I'll just go down and save on
yeah,
ones,
yeah,
on twos, of course. So, but if I have no cover, and the objectives is out in the open, yeah, I'm done. The scout teams doesn't work.
This has brought us sort of into talking about the infantry picks that we are seeing. Now, you've been talking about scouts here. For veterans, are we still looking at running between 5 and 8 man, or do we need more, do you think?
I don't think we need more. I think survivability in this game, if you have cover, is huge.
Yeah,
I mean, I can even see running inexperienced shirkers like Manuel loves to do,
yeah,
because as long as you have cover and you can go down, it doesn't matter. You
yeah,
have a huge chance of saving.
yeah.
I mean, if you have
And
hard
even those
cover,
shirkers, they will, if you keep them down, they'll remove all the pins that you're
yeah,
pouring into them, right?
we had one mistake at VOV because when we stayed down, we removed them at the beginning of the next turn. And it
Yeah.
says in the book, you remove them when you've been down a whole turn. And the
Mm.
turn you go down is not a whole turn.
No,
So
true.
you have turn you leave it on has to end, which means one of my things I complained about was that down was actually better than rally because there was no chance of failure. But
Yeah.
your opponent has a whole round to give you the rest of the
To
pins for
give
you
you
to
more
run
pins.
away before
That's
you remove it if you read the rule book about down. It says you have to be down a whole turn, which makes it more dangerous because if you have a good unit that has 6 pins and you go down, your opponent's going to shoot at it 5 times and hope to remove it.
what about inexperienced dudes? We've talked about shirkers here that we might still want to run those as, cheap infantry. But
If you have
it,
cover,
yeah,
and you have the company commander, they're useful.
yeah.
I mean, you
Even though
need
you
it.
get the -1, because that will most often put you at a 6 to shoot.
Yeah, well, I mean, basically, you don't kill much anyways. All you
Yeah,
need to
true.
do is pin him, so you take him out of the game, so you can
Yeah,
get your hard hitters in and do their stuff. And if you are running enough, now if for example you have 1,250 points
yeah,
and you run 5-man squads with rifles as the Russians,
yeah,
which then can take the commissioner so they shoot regularly. Well, if you do 35 points, that's 140 for each four. You can run eight of those, 8 times 4.
yeah,
So you can shoot. You don't have to kill anything. You can just shoot with your units and basically take out whatever you want every turn, as long as you can see it.
yeah.
So and like I'm working on a list where I have 8 of them. Uh, which and then I got the 4 heavy autocannons on rotating platforms. I have 3 T60s and 2 Katyushas, and I mean, so I can back them up moving forward. And the commission or the whatever he's called coming in, that makes sure they shoot on that one better because
Yep.
the Russians have that rule now. They did before, but I think they can get the rule as a national rule actually.
For me, I also think that version 3 really made backline holders with LMGs kind of useful. They were crap in version 2 for me, but a 5-man unit of regulars that you can wait with, and you can afford them not doing anything a
You
turn,
can.
so they might just go an ambush or whatever. But if you get them late turn and the enemy has done all they can do, then you can move them up and you can shoot at range, and I find that really, really useful. What about you?
Well, I still don't believe in LMGs to be honest. They give a pin, rarely kill anything.
True?
Uh, so and as we just agreed on with the new officers and stuff, pins doesn't matter. I would rather have 5 men in a squad with a rifle that I can actually go hold an objective with or whatever.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you do rather than LMGs, I would much rather do either HMGs or even anti-tank rifles or weapons, light anti-tank gun on that stands still,
Yep.
because it's become so easy to hit. And unless you have really good cover on a game, you're gonna have a hard time getting cover for your tanks. and
Yeah.
it's become so easy to hit. And with a +5, I mean, an armor 8 is not gonna like it, which is why I honestly think when we start getting the meta and we start getting the tank guns in, anti-tank guns and stuff, even standing still, we're gonna see less and less armored platoons, because I honestly think they're gonna get killed too easily. And if you take it and you say, "Oh, but my tank has recce," yeah, that's fine. But what do I pay for an anti-tank gun, medium anti or light anti-tank gun, even with +4? I might pay 50 points. You pay
Yep.
100 and something. I will any day make you move your recce tank for twice as many points.
This brings us into support units. For me, there's a thing that I'm really focusing on right now, and I think could be a thing that really helps because it boosts your order dice and it gives you some support, and that is the MSU that you can do even in the rifle platoons with the light mortars and the anti-tank rifles. So like very small infantry-borne weapons. Yes, they are not massively survivable. I know that, but the way that you use them is you wait or you go on ambush. If you can't move up, if you get the dice too early, you just wait. You go on ambush or you go down, and then have the enemy shoot at you. Yeah, well, they might kill one guy. Okay. Especially for Russians, you get that rerollable
I
morale
mean,
save is just awesome.
light mortar teams are now one of the best units in the game,
Yes, I agree. They're
hands
really,
down.
really good for the
Uh,
points.
unless somebody spent the points to make their tank veteran.
Yes. Or or they spent the points and got multiple rocket launchers because if I'm facing against two, three multi-rocket launchers, I don't want to have those 24 order dice. But I mean, my point was that you could really easily boost your order dice count with these units
Mhm.
that
Yeah,
costs 20 odd points, right?
yeah,
21 points for a light mortar.
yeah.
I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's
It
so
is,
cheap.
and it
And
has a threat range of 42.
25 points of 26 points for an anti-tank rifle.
Yeah, yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they're. I mean, I love my front neck, which were in VOV but not in the game yet, where you can forward deploy your anti-tank
oh,
rifles.
even better.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
better.
that's what I was missing at VOV.
Yeah.
Oh no, at Bring Your Guns,
Yeah.
and I faced one guy, awesome list. I liked it, but he spent the money or points on a veteran tank. I had nothing other than my scouts that could charge it, and I had
Ooh.
to get very lucky because I think it was armor 10, 9 or 10. I don't remember if it was only Christians that
That
was
must
armor
have
10.
been Christian Dungvald's
No,
trench
it
paper.
was Andreas who had. He also had a huge heavy howitzer tank with him, and I mean it was great. And because it was veteran, I couldn't pop it and give it pins, which was horrible.
So that moves us on to the heavy weapons platoon. For me, the heavy weapons platoon is the place to get all those extra small teams that I just talked about, the MSU of my light mortar spam or even cheap MMGs for infantry, inexperienced MMGs, uh, really cheap now. Anti-tank rifles, all that stuff. Really easy place to get it. And you can also go a different route and get medium or heavy mortars and then spotters everywhere and just do the gunline thing. What do you think about the heavy weapons platoon now?
Well, I've had it with me every game,
Yeah,
and
right.
but I have it solely for light mortars.
Yeah,
I want my mortars to be able to move.
me as well.
But of
But
course, that's because I built the whole forward deployment thing.
yeah,
It takes a while before people start shooting at my mortars because the scouts are the threat
yeah,
in their book. But then I'm going to start tagging things with 3 or 4 mortars on one unit because I'm going to force it to move. The most dangerous unit I can see gets tagged with 4, the other one gets tagged with 3, and I'm going to force you to move, which means if you're not within 6 inches, you're
Yeah.
shooting on fives. Now,
Yeah.
I don't really care how many shots you are on that scout team, because if I feel any kind of danger, I'm just going to go down, which means you shoot on fives, you kill on fives, and I save on twos.
Yeah.
If you are lucky, you kill one.
Maybe. Maybe.
If you are lucky.
Yeah.
If you're unlucky, I had a mortar shoot at me with a huge one. He hit all five, and I just saved it. I didn't lose one unit. I mean, so yeah, and then the mortar is going to come tag you. Eventually, it's going to hit unless you move. If I get the first die, I'm going to just
Yeah.
snap 4 mortars and shoot those 4 on fives, and one of it's going to hit normally, at least
Normally.
one. Yeah,
It's not
and
going
you're
to do
going to
much, though. That's one
no,
of the
but
points I made.
two pins
Sorry.
on a tank
Yeah.
that's far enough forward it doesn't have support. It's devastating.
Yeah. That's exactly my point. Yeah. And also because you have so many of these weapons that each of them is a little bit of a threat, right? So the enemy has to split up their attention to all of these extra little bits of threat that's everywhere on the board, and that sort of overloads most people anyway.
I think the mortars should not have been upgraded in range, not light mortars. Not when you can move and shoot. 24 was plenty. That you have 36 means that if he moves in 6 and you move in 6, you can shoot on him in
You can
turn
shoot.
1.
You can shoot turn one most of the
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
and that I mean that just makes you so much more powerful than a medium or a heavy who needs a spotter, or if you're in the open, is an easy target a lot
It
of
is.
times. Yeah. So because I can just stand behind a forest and move in and shoot the next turn when I start getting you under control or whatever. I mean, it's just such a huge advantage.
So let's talk engineers. And I want to do this because recently Gary Morgan, who ran engineers at World Open War, he won a major British tournament last weekend, I think it was, using engineers again. He had almost the same list as he brought to.
What nation is he playing? Americans?
Ah, can't remember. It was half tracks and engineers in half tracks. I think it was Americans, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but one of the things that was weird about that is my gut feeling was that we weren't going to see many engineers anymore because the engineers, all of a sudden, all of them were as bad as they had been with my partisans. Where I took one flamethrower because it was a nice threat to have, but that's it. And I knew I would lose it as soon as I used it. But maybe that's the whole new thing that engineers is sort of like a glass cannon that you can throw at people and they will die, but they will also kill something. I don't know. What do you feel about engineers right now?
I honestly think that if you pick the right nation and you build it right, like the White Scout car who has room for 7, I think it is, or you are doing the British one who has room for 13. If you want to do the low version of it with the glass cannon, you're gonna put company commander, 3 flamers, and a
Yeah,
white scout car in a
yeah,
white scout car. Then you're gonna snap 2 your white scout car and 3 flamers. You will hit something. And
yeah,
if you're good enough at holding your nerve and wait till he's done, hopefully for your sake you can get your commander and the white scout car away, and then because it's an open top, he can snap out of it
yeah,
without seeing them, which means you can actually snap your flamers too and get 2 shots off before they die. You will kill shit.
yeah. You will.
It
That is
will
true.
hurt your opponent.
And
Uh,
having that potential of having a double, like an 8 order dice across 2 turns, right? The last 4 order dice of a turn, the first 4 order dice of a
yeah,
turn, that is massively powerful.
and that is my whole point with the company commander. If you do it as the British, where you can have 13 in, you're
Yeah,
gonna build 2 5-man engineer squads with flamer
yeah,
veterans, put 1 regular or veteran flamer in there with the company commander, snap to your vehicle, go forward, snap
yeah.
2 engineer squads out, trash something, snap your flame out, trash something. I mean, and it's an armor 7, so he doesn't really care if you shoot at it. Who cares about a pin? You got your
Yeah.
company commander.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
And
the
I
whole.
think one of the things that makes this actually viable is that now the flamethrower team, it doesn't die when the flamethrower runs out because the flamethrowers will run out now. But it's still a two-man unit, or the engineers is still like five veterans or regulars or what have you. So it's still it's not gone. You don't lose the order dice just by
No, no,
running
no,
out.
no, 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 no. It doesn't matter.
I
And
think though that the we saw a lot of the Wasp flamethrower tank and the BA-20 in version 2. And I am still seeing some lists using these, but not as many as I used to. Is
no,
that something you think as well?
of course,
Yeah.
I would never feel the BA-20. It has one weapon, and
Yep.
there's a 33% chance of running out.
Every single time you use it.
I would never use it. If it had a second weapon for the price or it got cheaper, maybe. But the
Yeah.
fact that it you shoot once with it, I'm not
Yeah.
paying 125 for a one-shot weapon.
Nah.
That
Uh,
is, I mean, why would I do that when I can take an artillery observer? He shoots better for 75 points.
I agree.
You
I agree.
know, and I mean, he basically, if an artillery observer is not going to fail. The shot is going to come. Now it can hit yourself. You can get unlucky, but eventually he will show up unless he runs off the table if he can still do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, no, no, I don't see. I don't think we're going to see a lot, if any, flamer tanks for the reason that it is just too expensive if you run out. I mean, I love my T-35 who has the medium anti-tank and a flamer, but if I run out, it's just huge waste of
Yeah.
points.
I also think that one of the problems will be that BA-20 most of the time when it connects with the enemy is going to be pinned, right? So you're moving and you've got the pin, that's -2. So you're at
Yeah,
6. You may be at point blank, which pushes it down to a 4. It's still not great. So it's a
no,
50-50 whether or
no.
not you hit. If you don't hit, you might run out. Oh, it
You
sucks.
if you're gonna use a BA-20, you have to, at least it's an armor 7, so you have to make sure it's not opened up. So you have
Yeah.
to make sure that it's only riflemen who can reach it. Anything who can pin it, you don't want that to reach it because
And
then it's,
now with the anti-tank rifles being so easy and cheap, I
yeah,
think they're going to
yeah,
go away.
yeah.
Right.
Uh,
So that was flamethrowers in the engineer platoon for us here. What about the artillery platoon? Are we seeing many of those? Because that was one of my worries, was that everyone would be taking a gunline army of artillery platoons.
it is at the moment, if you ask me, with the way we see the tables are built so far in the tournaments I've been at, the best choice,
Yeah,
especially the German one.
yeah,
I mean, the fact that you can do the whole and if you follow the rules where it's not one of each, but you can have one of each for every rifle platoon.
yeah.
I mean, you can take so many Nibblewaffers with you, or which I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah,
I would,
just in a regular artillery platoon here, you can take four Nebelwerfers
yeah,
in a
but
one platoon.
I would still any day take the flak feeling and the flak feeling.
Oh yeah,
I
if you
would,
could.
I
The
would, I would.
Flak is especially that
Yeah,
double heavy autocannon.
I would never take the I might take one of them just to control the battlefield, but the other ones where you shoot 4 and 8 shots,
Yeah,
there is not a unit that's going to run in front of that, and you can have two of each
yeah,
for every artillery platoon you have. It
true.
doesn't matter what men you bring with it because you are going to control the board so hard, especially with the open boards we are seeing right now. So until the community starts putting up more,
Yeah,
making sure that there is rough ground or rough hard cover on all tables, not
line of
not
sight
not
blockers as
not
well.
not covered in hard, but there has to be both soft and hard cover on every table.
Yeah,
Because if you have a gun line and all you got is soft cover, your list is dead. If
yeah,
somebody brings a gun line against you and all you got is soft cover, you are never going to get out behind dense terrain, because as soon as you do, with a save on fives,
Yeah.
you're dead.
Yeah.
You're gone. So
You're gone.
we need to I think we need to up terrain in the areas where we have the terrain.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that people can choose whether they want to go into soft cover or hard cover.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, we're going to start slowly, I think, to see a very uniformed list building, because it is easy to kill in soft cover.
Yes.
Yes, it's my opinion.
I also think that this is not just your opinion, because it's also something that representatives from all the games have put out there. Marcus Vine has said it multiple times on multiple podcasts, including this one, that the game now needs more terrain.
Yeah.
So for me, that's 25% extra terrain, which is what I'm aiming for with my tournaments now. 25 extra percent, and then we'll see what happens.
But it
Because and most of that terrain will be pushed towards the middle of the board. Not completely, because there still might be sectors deployments and what have you where it would fuck up the table really if everything was just in a line in the center, right? But I will put more of the line of sight blockers in the center because we need them there. Because otherwise, gun lines are going to dominate, I think.
well, I don't care so much about line of sight blockers. For me, it's a question of when you I played, I think, two tables at Bring Your Guns where there was not a shred of hard cover.
Yeah.
Not one bit. It was an open table and not a shred of hard cover.
Yeah.
And with the way the game works now, with the cover save and stuff, if you don't have a list, preferably a something that can shoot far. It doesn't have to be a gun line list. It can be armored vehicles that can shoot far. But if
Yeah.
you can't shoot far with most of your lists, that is a losing battle, because
Yeah.
the cover is not going to help you on a five. Now I know as an infiltrator you're saving on a four, but that is still 50% of your units that get hits that should die.
Yeah.
That will kill you fairly quickly before you get there. So what I think we need more of all over the table is a mixture of hard and soft. Now, I'm not saying everything should be hard, because you also need to take chances. I'm pretty sure in war you can't just jump from one hard cover to another. But there
Well,
has
you'll
to
try,
you
but
you,
it
you
doesn't
will,
happen that often. Yeah.
but that's where you have ambush, so you can stop people from making that run. Because I still want the lines where you have a clear line from one end to the other.
Yes.
But I should be able to put myself up to run over behind some cover,
Yes.
preferably hard. But if he's on ambush, I can decide whether I want to take that chance and be shot in the open, because that makes it for a tactical game.
It does.
Right now, it's
Um,
it's a matter of having the list that can shoot over no cover, basically.
and you also mentioned now one of the things that we, I think, need to talk a little bit about more autocannons. One of the commenters in a video today, actually, when we're recording this, said to me, "Why are autocannons good?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? They are amazing right now." And what is it that makes them good? Well, you made a face.
I did, and I did that because I faced autocannons with my scouts. I faced howitzers, even
Yeah.
even that was shooting me with a template four and hit all seven with a +4. Basically wounded every scout. And I lost zero because I was down in a
Double
hard
saves.
cover. So autocannons, the thing for me that makes them really good is that they give D2 pins. And
Yes.
yes, I know we're saying pins doesn't matter like it did before, but it still matters in the fact that you start on a four. If you have two pins, you shoot on a five. If you moved, you shoot on a six. Now that helps my survivability with all my units. Now, if you have your units outside of reach of an officer, now we all of a sudden looking at 8, 7, or 6 where you're going to go down. So for me, the fact that you get two chances to roll that five after you moved, and if you hit, I don't care if I kill anything, because if it is far enough forward that the officer can't help him, 2 pins are awesome,
Yeah.
especially on vehicles.
Yeah, and it also means that you're guaranteed that that unit, next time it moves and shoots, is with a -1.
Yes, exactly. He
Um,
cannot remove the pins, even if he makes his morale check, which is why I think that autocannons are good, is because they give D2 pins.
for me, they're also really, really good because they're not one-shot weapons. I freaking am so unlucky with one-shot weapons. So having that 2 dice to roll, for me makes it way more likely that I'll get a hit.
did,
But
did you just say you were unlucky with one-shot weapons? Excuse me,
yes,
you artillery observer that
oh
you
yeah, well
used for your
that's
birdie,
not a one-shot
is
weapon.
that a one? How
That's
many
an
times
area
could it shoot
effect
before?
weapon.
Oh, but how many times could it shoot before in version 2?
How many times would I what?
How many times could your artillery observer shoot his shot in version 2? Oh,
Once.
I've never seen you miss, Bo. Never.
No, that's
But
true.
you were
Not
very
against you,
unlucky.
but I have
Oh,
missed. Not against you, uh, but for me, that rolling 2 dice, like it's the same with the darker tanks in version 2, right? Would rather have a lot of dice, 18 dice plus put
I agree.
on the darker steward, than one shot with the panther.
Yeah,
Because why would I? I mean, I miss half the time anyway. So the 2 shots is the thing that I think is really good for autocannons now,
agreed.
and the fact that you no longer have to string along the templates, so you can place them where you need them to go, which
I,
means you
I
can
wouldn't know that.
maximize
I've
how many
never hit
people
with
you
both
hit.
of them on the same shot, so I don't know how that works. It's not a thing for me.
It's not a thing that
No,
happens to
no,
you,
no, no. I've
right?
never I've never rolled that well unless I'm doing a morale check. Then I'll
Anywho,
roll five and
but
sixes.
artillery platoon people, look at Nebelwerfers and look at autocannons. Yeah,
Yeah, new specialists. Gotta love them.
love them, gotta love them. Let's talk about the armored platoon then. You say that you think the armored platoon is going to go away.
I have absolutely no confidence in amplitude. Now, saying that, I love the tank assault with a pivot. That is ridiculously powerful.
It's ridiculously good.
So if you can have your tank standing there and you can deal out some pins and hit 2 or 3 units, now that's amazing. That will kill units. I lost a 7-man scout team with 2 pins, even with 2 rolls, veterans. Of course, I couldn't roll 8 and under. That's
Yeah,
me. But yeah, no, I was just like, what?
yeah.
That is really really good. But I just think tanks basically have too few shots for the points. Now, if you're going to use them to bring yourself hard cover, or you're going to use them to do tank assault, or push forward like that, if possible, yeah, they're good. But I would much rather have a transport vehicle with HMTs on than I would have a tank.
Okay.
If I had something to put in it that I wanted to bring forward, because we as Armor 6 should be out of the game totally. I mean, they shouldn't even exist anymore.
Okay.
Bringing an Armor 6 is literally asking to be killed with the units
Yes.
inside.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to keep it until the end. I mean, you can bring a truck, yeah, or jeep, as long as you get the last dice and you have it behind dense terrain. But don't ever bring it forward without thinking you're gonna lose it, because even if if he has, most squads have 8 or 10 shots, and he shoots at you. If he hits 5, there's a big chance one of the hits is a 6, and your unit is gone. I mean, he doesn't even have to roll on the damage.
Oh, you're
Uh,
dead. You're just
it's
dead.
just gone. I shot at Christian's jeep with 5 scouts and killed his jeep. I had 2 6s. I mean, it was dead, gone. And
Yeah.
it was a Reiki SAS jeep, but it moved in and I got a chance to shoot at it. Of course I did. I had 2 chances to roll a 6 on his other jeep. I failed, or he would have been dead too, which would actually might have given me a chance to get a draw against him, even if I got whooped
Yeah.
badly.
Yeah.
If I had taken that out, I would have had some officers over there to deal with his anti-tank rifle and his mortar team. But yeah, no, Armor 6 is definitely gone. Now, I do think that in competitive, in VOV, in where the competitive players show up, I honestly do think an Armor 9 or an Armor 10 tank, like Christians with the heavy howitzer and Armor 10, because and if you put it on veteran, not even a flamer can hurt you. You get 0 pins.
It gets so expensive.
It's not that expensive for a weapon. You can run up within close range and kill a whole unit every turn.
If you can get that one shot to connect.
Yeah, but if you are in close range, you're looking at threes or twos.
Yeah, that is true.
Or if you are supposed to hold the middle for some reason, run it in there. Nothing is going to get close to you, and there is so little that can hurt it. I mean, an autocannon can't even pin it. Even a heavy autocannon with +3 is just going to laugh at you. So basically, you do need a light tank anti-tank gun, or a medium anti-tank gun, or a heavy anti-tank gun. And
So
with a light,
you're actually waiting on maybe seeing Death Stars make a comeback here in V3?
I would after I saw Christian's list, which I thought was a really good British list with
Yeah.
2 forward artillery observers, and I think he had 2, and that horrible tank with armor 10. I don't think there was many people at this tournament that could hurt it. I mean,
Because what I'm seeing right now is a pivot towards Armor 7 and Armor 8.
yeah,
Everyone running that, and
that is
especially
why
running stuff with autocannons on it. So
yep,
the T60s that you and I have both tried out, the Panzer Lux, the Panzer II Lux, the 250/9,
I
the
agree. That is what we are
222.
seeing. But
Yeah,
that is why I think that a list like Christian's with 18 auto dice and
yeah.
that tank is actually playable, because that there's not going to be a lot of stuff. I don't think at VOB did we see any light, medium, or heavy anti-tank guns. I don't think we did. I don't even think that the most of there was a few Stewards with a light anti-tank, but 90% of all tanks there were autocannons.
Yeah.
They cannot hurt armor 10 unless they
Nope,
get into
they
your
cannot.
side or rear. And that howitzer that could shoot at half distance. I mean, I think that has a place. I don't know what he paid for it, but
But
yeah,
I think it's below 300, but it's still a lot of points.
yeah, not in 1250 when you can build so many little units to support it.
True.
Yeah.
Then here at the end, we come to the Recce platoon. Is there any reason for this to be even in the book?
So you know what? You know what I would have done if I had made this.
Yeah, well,
Now, the Reiki platoon should be able to take anything with Reiki. That should be the only place you can get Reiki.
yeah.
Because why take it when you can get anything Reiki anyways? Why would you care? Why would I? I mean, I have to pay extra here, but I can buy a, a vehicle anyways. And when you can't put engineer squads in there, why would I even care about getting transport with Recce if I can't transport my flamers, which is what they're meant to do, and I have to buy extra squads because I can only buy transport for every infantry squad I have.
Yeah.
I see absolutely no point in a Recce infantry squad when you can get Recce everywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't. And I hope somebody will correct me and tell me why it's good. I cannot see it.
I see a potential for future theater platoons and whatnot actually using this and making it usable. But as it is in the rulebook, I don't see a reason to take it.
No, no. And I mean, I'm right now. I'm at the point where I kind of feel like the Russians are not very playable.
Yeah.
Because unlike in version 2 where they had the biggest toolbox, I don't see them have a huge toolbox now.
Is
And
that the lack of Lend-Lease? Because Lend-Lease is the main thing that the Russians have lost in the rulebook right now.
Well, they're. I don't know if but you're missing all the case blue units. You're
Yeah,
missing. You don't have a very big tank selection compared to what you did. I mean, I think I have 5 or 6 tanks. I know some of them can be custom made in there, but I mean, no. I mean, right
yeah,
now, I think if I look at the rule book, I think Germans, Americans, or Brits. Basically, but as I told Casper, who does all my painting, shout out to Casper. He told me I can't buy a new army right now. I told him I'm not going to. I'm not
yeah,
buying anything till the army of books are out. I will
yeah,
just suffer with my Russians
yeah.
because we all know when they come out, everything might
Things
change.
is going to
And
change. Yeah,
and I'm not going to spend a lot of money buying a new army that then in 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months is basically useless.
yeah,
So I'm just gonna stick with it and try to get it to work because yeah, everything else feels like a waste.
yeah.
And then hopefully I can when the book
You
comes
do
out.
have some things with the Russians. Now we can get into Russians here at the end. We have like 2-3 minutes before we hit the 1 hour mark. So let's talk about Russians in the rulebook. Right now, I feel like the maybe the one redeeming feature for the Russians is their access to scouts. I think scouts are amazing this edition,
They are.
but the rest feels like sort of not great. How
Well,
do you feel about them?
I as I said, I fielded all scouts
Yeah,
and they were great, but it needs the right mission. I actually think that if I could play the game I sometimes can play, if I had brought my Bring Your Guns list to VOV,
yeah,
with the fact that I got to choose my tables or pick a mission that suited our lists, I think I could have gone close to list wise 6-0. Maybe not play wise or opponent wise, but list wise.
yeah,
Because I saw how much devastation the Force Scout, and here I had 48 scouts in all,
yeah,
and 7 light mortars and 3 company or 3 platoon commanders, 1 company and 2. That's only 18 dice. I
yeah,
would like to have gone to 20, but I might just have shaved a man off the 7 man and made them 6 and put some frontneck in instead because they were available there.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, for the right mission, the whole scout brigade is horrible to face because they will get close up against you in one side or put themselves right on the objectives. And at VOV, I could infiltrate in every mission. 2 of the missions I lose, you can infiltrate in. And the last one I lose because I do crazy infiltration and gather around Christian, and he get I think the first 6 and then the first 7 dice in turn 2, and my scouts fell like wet paper on a rainy day. I mean, I looked over behind and was like, okay, now I have what 8 scouts left on the table out of 48 in like turn
ouch.
2. Yeah, it hurt, but
What about there's been a lot of talk about how body armor may be a thing as well. You're not running body armor, are you?
oh hell no. Why would I? I save on 2s.
Yeah, true.
What I
But
mean,
body armor would mean that you only die on sixes as well. It would mean that,
yeah, but you have to get him into the battle.
yeah, you do.
And if you can find something along the line of a Brent carrier or something where you can get him forward, preferably in close because opens up sucks.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do the whole because you can if you can get the Armor 7 transport, which I don't think the Russians have, with enough spots in it, you can do the
Let me
same thing.
just check because I've got the rule book open here.
Yeah, I looked at it yesterday and I didn't see one.
Might be they have the T20. They have the T20 consolette, which
Yeah,
means you can take 6 men, but not 7.
yeah, but 6 men isn't enough either if you want to run the company commander with an engineer squad.
Yeah.
You need to get the English one. I know it's opens up, but it's 13 guys inside,
Yeah.
which means 2 and 2 and a company commander.
Yeah.
And with that, you can even still put a flamer team in there. Now that's powerful, but you know who wrote the book, so of course they have a 13 transport where everybody else has a 6 or a 7.
People will still argue, though, that the Soviets still have the most overpowered, overrated anti-tank weapon of the game, which I find is true, but I'm also finding it really, really hard to actually kill stuff with my dogs. Um,
And the dogs are useless.
yeah, what's with that? On paper, they're so goddamn good.
No, they
So
were,
deadly.
but how many tanks have you faced with Armor 7 that doesn't have Recce? Every
Well,
tank I've faced have Recce.
I'm not trying to hunt Armor 7 Recce vehicles,
No, but
but I
that's
am
what
facing a lot of those, though.
but that's what you're facing.
Yeah,
Dogs are useless.
yeah.
They were good in the last version. They're worthless. And they went up in price. No.
Yeah, they did.
I would take
Which
a mortar any day over it. I haven't had a dog team with me since.
still, it's only 26 points, so
Well,
it's not bad.
I might bring it to Casper's tournament,
Okay.
house tournament, because they're probably going to bring some tanks of higher value just because they're noobs. And
Yeah.
I'm going to say that because he called me a mediocre player today.
Well, you were last tournament. You went 50-50. That's mediocre.
It
I'm
is.
sorry.
It is. I'm okay with that. I'm still experimenting, and I'll
Yeah,
keep
you are.
experimenting.
We all are. We all are.
I will bring a list with so many dice that I need 2 different colors to table them at your tournament. So I hope you
That'll be
have the chess.
brilliant. Remember, you have to finish games, though.
You might just bring a chess watch. I'm fast.
Yeah, you are. He really is, by the way. He's almost faster than me, and I'm fast.
Yeah, but the
But
difference between you and me is I measure correctly.
yeah, true,
Yeah.
true. I don't.
No.
Anyways, thank you so much, Michael, for coming
You're
on
welcome, bro.
and talking meta and talking about the what's good and what's not right now, where we are at in Bold Action version 3.
At
Any
least where
final
I
comments?
feel we're at. Yeah, change some stuff up. We need to change Fubar. We need to change the officers. I think that's my 2 main things. Fubar is ridiculously stupid
Right.
that you were running off.
But all that will be in at some point when the Danish Bold Action Association brings out a comprehensive pack. I think we'll have to look at some of these things.
That would be great. Good luck
Anywho,
with that.
that was it from us today. See
See
you
you
next
later,
time.
guys. Have a
Cheers.
good weekend soon. Bye.